Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Myself and Warren King back at it. EFC 79 this past week that's just happened. Welcome, bro. What's happening?
Thanks. Nothing much. It feels like an eternity since we did this.
Yeah, it always does, and there always seems to be a lot of action in between, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Got a lot of new things to talk about. So just talk us through EFC 79 and what your thoughts were. Obviously, we went quite hard at the card. We didn't really think it was a massively stacked card. But what were your general thoughts about the event?
Yeah, from my side, I think if you're a fan in the actual stadium, I think there was a lot of action. Only 2 of the fights went the distance, and we had a lot of KOs and submissions, which is always nice to see when you're actually in the arena. But it didn't really tick all the boxes for me. It wasn't like the opening 2 fights. I thought the level of athletes was a bit low. But yeah, even a little bit higher up with the heavyweights. I wasn't too ecstatic about this card. There were moments of brilliance. I mean, I enjoyed watching X and Madiba fight. I think very lukewarm.
Yeah.
In general.
Sure. Like I was just saying to you before we started, there was a couple of things I noticed about that card. As an MMA purist, like a fan of the pure mixed martial arts, we didn't get to see a very high skill level of mixed martial arts. Obviously, there was a lot of guys going quite hard and hunting for the KOs and that. And as fans, you appreciate that. You do appreciate that. And, like I was saying, I feel like a lot of those fighters were kind of galvanized, perhaps by bonuses, to kind of really hunt the finish or hunt the KO. It was a bit strange for me. But a lot of guys were just standing and banging. If you take a guy like Tumsang Madiba, who was clearly physically outsized, and his plan was just to throw at it. You know what I mean? And to be honest, Tumsang is the kind of guy at the moment who seems to be strictly motivated by money. You know what I mean? He's like, whatever, I'm just here to get another paycheck, which is cool. But surely you want to win along the way as well.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit disappointed. A couple of the fights where you maybe expected more ground knowledge or someone to take it to the ground or try and mix it up.
Yeah.
Use a bit of technical wrestling to get yourself in better positions. We didn't see a lot of that in a lot of the fights, and I'm trying to decide whether it's a skill level thing or just the motivation behind.
Well, I think you touched on something nice there. There was a very low level of wrestling on this card. I mean, I know for your casual fan that they're not necessarily a massive fan of watching the wrestling element, but it's the most dominant element of the sport, and you saw very little of it on this card. So one fight I did actually enjoy watching was Faiz versus Billy, to be completely honest. I thought that was a pretty good fight to watch, considering Faiz took it technically on 24 hours notice, but I'm sure he was prepping for something. But Joe, the wrestling was very weak, very, very weak on this card. But just generally, I don't know, there wasn't many highlights for me,
So let me just point out a good example of what we're talking about. Kuliklani Plongwa.
Yeah.
Right, it looked like it was the first time he'd ever been on his back in his life. Yeah. Look, I know he comes from a team with very good jiu-jitsu, very high caliber ground guys, But I just couldn't understand. He was. If you watch from how he defended the takedown, I don't know what he was doing. So he's trying to defend double leg, and he goes almost like 2 underhooks, almost like giving away the double leg, giving it to even easier. You know what I mean? You could see he had no idea what to do with his hips. He didn't know where to even start when it came to defending the takedown.
Yeah. The
next thing was on his back in the mount position, and was clearly no attempt to escape, no attempt to get to a better position. He wasn't trying to shrimp and make a space and try and get onto his side. And he just sat there and took punishment and just kind of put up like a high guard from the ground and prayed for the round to end. You know what I mean? And it was very clear to me that dude has absolutely zero ability on the ground. So, if you're a matchmaker and you want to see him do well, you have to give him just strikers, because anybody with any sort of ground game is just going to take him down and finish him. So, and it's cool, these guys come from karate backgrounds and those and that's cool, I get it. But this is MMA now, you know what I mean? And even realistically, a guy like Klongwa, who's young in an MMA career, should be focusing on his ground game, trying to get that better. And if you're not, then sorry for you, mate. That's the way it's going to go for the rest of your career.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can be in the best grappling camp in the world, but if you don't want to learn grappling and you don't have the desire to become good at grappling, it doesn't matter where you are. You know, you have to there has to be a passion towards becoming a better overall mixed martial artist, and there has to be a passion to becoming good at the groundwork and the wrestling and all the different facets of MMA. So take the camp away from it. I just don't think he has any desire to be a phenomenal grappler, which is sad because you see a lot of strikers come and go in the sport because they just never really engage with the grappling element of it.
Yeah, but then at least be working on like a sprawl and brawl tactic.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
I've never even seen a sprawl. I don't know if he thinks he knows what it looks like. So. But seriously, dude, I couldn't believe the way that double leg came so easy. I was like, well, fuck, bro. I think even I'd be able to take that double leg. You know what I'm saying? It was very clear that the ground knowledge was immensely weak.
Yeah, but I wouldn't label it as being a camp problem. I think it's a fighter problem
for sure. It's definitely not a camp. That's what I'm saying. He comes from a good camp. You know what I mean? There's no reason why he shouldn't have in ground abilities or minimal knowledge, like a one mount escape. Surely, you know what I mean?
I was actually surprised that they were on the main card and that Billy versus Faiz wasn't bumped up as the opening fight of the main card.
That cheese, bro. Don't get that cheese, bro.
But I mean, you'd think that they're trying to build Faiz to be the next contender at bantamweight. You'd think that opening up a card on Supersport would be the logical step for him to come in and to do it on 25 notice.
And a risky fucking move for everybody, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially for Faiz taking all the risks on Billy Erstaz, who honestly I don't rate. I don't think he's a great mixed martial artist yet. Maybe he'll get there. I mean, he's obviously packing a bit of power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's dangerous in the sense that he never looks like he's got the ability to win, but it seems like there must be some power in his hands because I think his 3 wins were all knockouts.
Yeah. Look, he can definitely knock you out, make a mistake.
But so it's a dangerous thing because I mean, Faiz on paper is 100 times better than Billy, but it only takes one mistake to get knocked out by someone with heavy hands. So yeah, but I thought that should definitely be on the main card.
Shout out to Faiz Jacob as well. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, obviously he took all the risk there. He's obviously, it looks like he's being built to be the next title contender.
Yeah.
You know, so it's risky for everybody to take a fight like that when you're so close to the title. You know.
I mean, I think we touched on it already, but I don't think he should necessarily compete for the title next. Like we said the previous time, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe him and Lutando as like a co-main event or somewhere high up on the main card, and JP defends against someone internationally.
Another ace in the hole which just came out this morning was Sylvester Chifumbu. It looks like, I mean, surprise, he hasn't got the call from Brave.
No one called that one.
So, you know, he's kind of like throwing some dice to see what he gets, bro.
That's a great fight.
I mean, Sylvester Chifumbu realistically is still in that division, still a title contender. Put him against Faiz Jacobs as a #1 contender fight, bro.
Well, his only loss was to Zulu Boy. So I mean, him jump. I thought flyweight was a bad move because Sylvester's not a small oak.
No, he's huge for flyweight.
But imagine Faiz versus Sylvester could be awesome. You know, that could be fireworks. I saw Jake comment on, and he was hoping that he was going to stay at flyweight so he could do my hiding.
Jake Candy. But you see what he
just covering all his bases.
He's like, at his age, he's 4 professional fights and he's already won a world championship. He must be the greatest. Something like that. I was like, okay, bro.
It reminds me of Conor. You know when Conor got his brown belt in the octagon, and he's like, I just fucking got my brown belt and didn't even grapple this guy. Oh man.
Yeah, so I think Sylvester Chifumbu's, you know, if I'm Graham, I mean, I don't know obviously what the story was with Brave and contract-wise and stuff, and if Sylvester's available for the EFC, man, get him in there.
Well, I think that was the indication that he was coming back to the EFC.
So
I mean, I'm sure Graham would take him back. I mean, that's a great talent.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Especially now with like Tim Magrimba back in the mix and a couple of guys from that camp, you know. Kind of making waves in their respective divisions. So I think it's a good time. You know, it's a good time to get like a bit of team momentum and like really get things going. You know, like obviously Sylvester would be like a team leader for them, I guess. You know, so good to have him fighting. Bro, we didn't mention Igor Cabeza versus the Croatian cowboy.
Yes, that was quick, huh?
This is the crazy thing about Igor Cabeza, like, it's almost like he's coming out of his shell in a way, you know what I'm saying, like he's starting to have that confidence in his hands and like, straight up. But you know, like everyone always talks about his wrestling, and you know, like we always talk about this like a wrestler with the overhand, but obviously with Igor there's so much more to it. He's a dangerous individual, man. The way he's knocking dudes out, you know what I mean, is
well, it was peculiar because he was actually coming backwards and he got his back into the cage, and then he dipped under and threw almost like an overhand, but it didn't look like it hit. It didn't look like connect flush. You know, it looked like it clipped him, but that I don't know how you say his surname. Saput was over. So he was done.
Yeah, he was very out.
Yeah. So I mean, they spent a lot of money bringing him out. It's last all of 90 seconds against.
Yeah.
Or 60 seconds against Igor. But that was a great performance. I mean, there's not really much left for Igor in the featherweight division. I don't see. There's no contenders at the moment for him. Maybe he can go and jump a weight class up or something. But I mean, it doesn't really make that much sense.
You see, like someone said that to me about him going up to lightweight. I honestly, I think that's the wrong way. I think if Igor's going anywhere, he should be going down. I don't think he cuts a lot of weight, to be honest. Like, I really don't. I really
think he like bantam.
I reckon he could. I reckon he could do that. I think he's actually, in fact, even tangled around with it a bit, to be honest.
Okay.
I really think he can. Because I think he walks around quite light now, like he's not.
When you look at him, you'd never imagine that he would be a bantamweight. But then, at the same time, you look at Carl Eleanor, you never imagine he could be a bantamweight.
Shout out to Carl, who's like that middleweight.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, dude, it's but like, look, if I'm Igor, I don't know what his management is like, if the EFC or
who's his manager?
Yeah, boy.
No one knows about this.
Yeah, boy. Can't remember his name now. That it was Dark Horse. I'm sure it's him. It's changed to something else. He looks after like Anderson Kanyeva, a few other dudes.
Okay. I mean, you'd expect Igor to have a management company that had some international talent on their roster.
I think the EFC should be reaching out for him. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but I don't know. If I'm Igor, no, it's all attention on getting overseas. You've literally steamrolled whatever's come your way here. Like, there's nothing there for you.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at someone like BK, he signed to that MTK Global Management Company, right? So that company signed about 6 or 7 people last month to the UFC. So they're in open communication with the UFC management. They obviously signed a whole bunch of guys now for Pancrase, and they manage all these boxers, including Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
And so you'd expect someone like Igor, who's got a phenomenal record of 12-1, fought guys who are top tier athletes in Bellator and so forth. I mean, he beat Peter Queally, who is quite a decent name in MMA. You'd expect that it'd be easy for him to sign one of these management companies. And he's a very marketable individual, being African. You know, the UFC are loving the Africans at the moment.
He's got a hell of a story, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I mean, you'd think it'd be easy to get like a high-level management company to take you over. And I think that's the only real way for him to get into the UFC, unless the EFC can broker something on his behalf.
I would just want to be like, Igor, look at me now.
Get proper management.
Yeah, but, you know what I mean? I think especially for a guy who, like Igor, who's not, I don't know, like it's hard to say, I don't want to say he is and he isn't, but I don't see him as this guy who's like actively trying to like seek out bigger and better things, you know what I mean? Like, I think he just feels like it'll come. And I think, like, if you look at BK's situation, who signed for Pancrase, who's like, Pancrase has been around forever. I think
it was actually around before the UFC.
It was one of like the oldest promotions in the world.
Yeah, I think they're celebrating 30-something years, and like they're busy moving towards 30 years in the sport, you know?
The key detail is that BK wouldn't have been there without proper management. And I think that's the key. I think Don can attest to that. On how important it is to have major management looking after, especially from South Africa. We are so geographically fucked for international markets. Nobody really wants to fly. Like, I was speaking to the guy from KSW about South Africans, and he's like, look, dude, you know, like, if you've got talent and there's really big talent, like, we'll eventually look at them. He's like, you have to remember for us to bring South African all the way to wherever they are, Poland or somewhere in the UK, all the logistics behind it, You know, and what sort of attraction are they to their fans when they can just get a local Polish guy who will like sell out the stadium?
Yeah,
and that's the key. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? But it's obviously you have to be a promising enough prospect to get those calls, and you have to have the right management to help you be in that position to have organizations looking at you. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen by yourself. Okay, it can, and you know, for a lot of good guys, it probably will. But like good management is going to become so key going forward.
But if you think that, look at Martin's opportunity that almost materialized when he got the call up to fight then Steve at ACB.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't have happened unless he had an international management company looking after him.
HD management.
Yeah. So I mean, I think these top tier guys in the EFC, if they want to progress past the EFC, you need to sit down and have a proper discussion with the people around you about how to get yourself into a good management company, how you're going to promote yourself. You know, a lot of these guys aren't really good on social media and that.
Yeah.
So these management companies can assist with that because they can obviously leverage there's a pool of fighters and they can leverage a promotional company to run Instagram accounts and so forth. So someone like Igor definitely needs an international management company. You can't operate with a local guy that's never even spoken to the UFC brass or Bellator or KSW one. No, the list can go on forever.
Sure.
But very good performance from Cabeza.
Shout out to Igor Cabeza, bro. Talking of killers, did you see the return of Simon Hall is imminent?
The boom is back.
What can I say about old Simon Hall?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. We're taking 1,000 rand bets that he doesn't make to win.
How many cancelled fights so far?
105.
Let's go see quickly. So he's had.
It's many. I think 9.
Let's just see quickly on.
He's had more cancellations in fights in his career.
So he's had 7 scheduled and only 1 materialized. And I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 in there that also. Oh my goodness.
1 out of 7 is not too bad.
Oh my goodness. If you look at this,
Go back to his amateur career.
2017. In 2017, he had 3 in a row that were cancelled, but with Ruben Grunewald, same guy.
That was quite cool. And they were snapping punching bags. It was pretty awesome.
I think the 3rd one was Ruben's fault though.
Yeah, it was. I think he couldn't get off work to get to the wagons or something. I'm pretty sure there was this story. Like his boss wouldn't give him the day off to get to Wayne's. I'm almost certain that's what happened. Don't quote me, I'm pretty sure.
6 months.
Look, what I want to say about Simon Hall is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 9 times. See, again, this is where the EFC is headed at the moment. Is when you're going back to Simon Hall, who has literally not made it on 24 hours notice, fucking however many times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm sure Simon is a great dude. I'm sure he's a fantastic dude. But for sure, let's leave the MMA thing alone. Let's for sure leave it alone. Because it's clearly not your destiny, bro. You know what I mean? And it's infuriating. It's infuriating that guys have to go through camps. They have to devote their time away from their families. They have to give up money in some circumstances to get through their camp. They have to travel to destinations. Yeah. And then on 24 hours notice, this dude keeps pulling up like that frustrates me.
Unfortunately, the last fight was actually on 3 hours notice. Yeah. It was actually at the event, pre-event. It was on the night. I'm sure he's going to blame me for it.
Excuse me, bro. I'm pretty sure you're the reason he's doing it.
But I'm going to categorically state that I've never been in possession of that video, so I don't know who gave it to the UFC.
What video are you talking about?
Put a little inset
if inbox Warren and you haven't seen the video.
Inbox.
Just slides to those DMs.
Inbox card EFC.
Yeah, for sure. Let's leave Simon Hall.
Yeah, he was going to fight John. John just walked out this weekend.
Yeah, that's not a great fight.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Nico Yanji, back on the win.
Hey, 2-6, boy.
2-6.
Evening out those numbers.
Oh man.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That was one of very, very strange stoppages for me.
What actually happened? Because I saw he was grabbing his body. I thought.
Look, to me it looked like a knee to the belly. to be honest. As a belly bro, like I'm gonna say it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Nico Yamji knees me in the belly, I'm probably also gonna go down, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That looks massive.
Maybe like
in my head.
Maybe like a displaced robot. I don't know.
Yeah.
That and like Peacocks, was just like, yeah, I'm cool. This MMA thing is cool.
I actually didn't get to watch that fight, funny enough. How did it go?
Yeah, nothing amazing. You know, respect to Anisef, like, you know, taking out the bigger guy the way he did. I think Anisef's got one hell of a 1-2. Throws it like straight down the middle. It's his most effective weapon. He throws the left hook behind it here and there. I think people are surprised by his power because he's not like a massive unit, you know.
Yeah.
But like a very clean one.
He used to fight at featherweight.
Yeah, he's lets it all go. Yeah, I mean, and this was the thing. Like he, you know, it was realistically a featherweight against a middleweight. You know, I mean, Peacocks struggled to make that weight. Struggled, you know what I mean? And it's not because he had so little water to give up. It's just he's not in shape. You know what I mean? Like to make welterweight, that's just the way it is. You know, like I'm not throwing shade at the dude. He's just purely not in shape to fight a welterweight. To be honest, it looked like to me like he just gassed it. He was like, I'm out of it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like being here anymore. You know? And this is what happens, man, when you put fights on late and you put in guys like that, asking them to cut to welterweight on short notice. And
how much notice did they have for that fight?
I don't know, but it definitely wasn't.
Well, I mean, there was no fights announced like 4 weeks out. It was just one fight or so. But I mean, I wonder if he was prepping for that weekend, you know?
Yeah, by prepping you mean he was at the bar having a few brandy.
Yeah. Well, the EFC reached out to me about 5 weeks before the event to ask if I was willing to fight. So if we can take that as a marker, if everyone was getting about 5 weeks notice for these types of fights, you should imagine that he could have made the weights in 5 weeks, but I don't know when that match was actually made.
Yeah, if you're in shape, bro. That's what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like, if you're in shape, you can make the weight, but if you're not, that's just the way it is.
I saw the photo, he looked broken. I don't, that's another big problem. You do these big cuts and you have like a near-death experience on a Friday, and then you have to go perform at the highest level on the Saturday. You 24 hours, even the 36 hours technically that you got to recover, is not enough to get back in there, you know?
Yeah.
I think people need to invest a lot more money into getting sports nutritionists on board, guys that understand MMA, understand weight cutting, to help them along with this process, because one, you'll have more longevity in your career, and two, you'll have better performances. You know, the first time I got into the EFC Hexagon, I cut 6.5 or 7 kilograms, and then I only put back on 2. So when I got into the cage at 6 foot tall, I weighed 63 kilograms, and you know, I invested in a protocol that I didn't know much about, and only later on I found out there were a lot of fighters that had similar problems to what I had on that protocol. You have to invest in something that you trust. I mean, Rory Diesel is a highly knowledgeable individual, and that people can use his services. You can give them direction, you can help them with the rehydration. He's at pretty much every event for rehydration. And I mean, there's a couple of guys around. I mean, just, you know, it's a big part of the game. Invest some time and money into it, and just make sure, you know, you don't want to sell your soul. You don't want to spend 8 weeks preparing and then fuck it up because you had a bad weight cut. You know, I've experienced that,
especially when there's help available.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
But again, man, like I think it was just those were the problems were imminent that came to the UFC 79 to me. It was a good card. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it was the worst card ever. But you know, if you're in the know of MMA and you watch MMA closely, there were some problems. You know, like the skill on display was not of a high level for me. There were some very good fights. I liked Tim Magurumbo. I like to see him back. He looked good. I still think Tumi-san. I think that guy he fought was Exxon.
Yeah, Exxon.
Nice contender. He says I don't know if it was a mistake in the language, but he was saying he could make featherweight to fight with Cabeza. That's a hell of a unit. That's a hell of a unit to get to featherweight. If that's possible. Look, I don't know. I felt like he didn't really understand the question, and he kind of just said Cabeza. I don't even know if he knows who Cabeza is.
I mean, it'll actually be interesting to see what he's fought at previously.
Because he was a big dude. I mean, like, he looks like a solid lightweight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he can make featherweight, then he's good. Like
he's 15-4 now. I mean, that's a flipping strong.
They were commentators already talking about him fighting Joe Cummins and
That's
because he's a unit, you know what I mean. But like
Yeah.
again, let's give him another fight. Let's see what he can do. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely looks like a good
yeah.
fighter.
It seems like most of his career was at featherweight.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, look, all of these are featherweight.
Well, they're
featherweight.
looking for another contender for Ilya, so there you go.
Funny enough, one of his only losses was lightweight. So it seems like most of his career, part of his love is Brazilian regional stuff, so you can't really get much information on it.
Super.
But yeah, I saw Patricky Pitbull commenting after the win, like congratulations. I mean, it's a super strong camp. I mean, the one Pitbull brothers fighting Michael Chandler on Saturday
Yeah.
for the Bellator lightweight title. I mean, it's a strong camp if you consider that you got the two Pitbull brothers, and then you've got a whole list of local talent that fight in jungle fights and all of the top local promotions. So I mean, it's a great camp. He seems to be one of the top dogs there, so I would love to see him fight Cabeza. I didn't actually put two and two together when I heard that, because like I said, it sounded like a bit confused by the question. So.
Yeah. But yeah, cool, good find,
Yeah.
good find from the EFC. I believe Jose was pushing quite hard for him. But yeah, it definitely looks like a nice addition to the EFC, and especially at a time when we need like new prospects and like the real deal, I wasn't impressed by, you say it wasn't impressed, we didn't see much of him about the Croatian cowboy, he just got spot,
60
And
seconds
that's a big key for people like the casual fans watching MMA. Just remember, just because someone's 8-0 in Croatia doesn't make him a killer. You don't know what they're facing out there,
100%.
And the reality is we've got some serious talent in South Africa. I think Cabeza proved that again.
What did you think of Jose's performance?
I was just thinking. I don't know where I stand with Jose, man. The guys seem to think that there's a cardio issue. I seem to feel like they mistime their arrival with the altitude, but he's been coming here a lot now.
They came out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems.
So like the theory, as far as I understand, the theory of the altitude is either come 2 weeks before or like 2 days before. That's the way I understand it. So look, I've rolled with guys they come up from Brazil, our professors and that, and the first few days they sickle, man, they're struggling on the mats, So it definitely does play a role.
The problem is that flight's also super long. So I mean, if you're traveling for close to 24 hours, it takes you a day or two just to recover. Even if you're not changing time zone, it takes you a day or two just to recover from the travel. Now you have a drastic change in time zone, and now are they Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro based? I think it's a coastal team, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now they're at sea level, and now they're coming to high altitude in Johannesburg.
Sure.
It's you're definitely going to suffer.
That also being said, like I don't know, you also don't know, like in terms of certain conditioning, what Jose is doing. You know what I mean? Like, does he have? I mean, like obviously Timber does the full package. You know what I mean? Like he recovers properly. He has good nutrition around him. You know what I mean? He's ticking all the boxes. You know? Is Jose doing the same, or is he kind of just like rolling and striking non-stop?
I'll be honest with you, I think Jose looks very big for welterweight.
Yeah, that as well.
I think maybe those weight cuts are a bit brutal.
He said he struggled with the weight cut, you know what I mean? And I mean, especially now, why not have a tank at middleweight? What have you got to lose?
100%. If you look at the middleweight division, it's not much bigger than the welterweight division. The guys that are actually competing at middleweight, I think you should take a shot at making it at middleweight. I think that division might be a little bit thin in talent at the moment, barring obviously the top three guys, Drickus, Brendan, Garrett.
Sorry about Drickus fast KSW, but what did he say?
Has he got a fight yet?
No. So
because I looked at the KSW cards the other day, I didn't see him on anything that was scheduled.
So this is my theory on Drickus' scenario at the moment. He's been obviously every time you see a post pop up of Soldier Boy Lazar, he's commenting on it, and it seems like it seems like to me that he's holding out for the winner of Soldier Boy and Lazar. That's what I'm gathering. Like it kind of suggests that he wants the winner. And I would go as far as to say that I think most people think that Soldier Boy is going to win that fight, and the Drickus Soldier Boy rematch is going to be like the fight of the ages.
Yeah.
Look, that being said, there's no guarantees anyway. It's not to say because Gareth went to UFC and Lazar's only 2-0 that to walk over for him. I think Ben and Lazar has a lot of tools that can really give Gareth a hard time realistically.
Well, I mean, whenever Brendan fights, you're like, no, he's got no chance in this fight,
Yeah.
and then he wins. And then the next time he fights, oh no, there's going to be too much for him now, and then he wins. You know, so the one thing I've learned is you definitely don't bet against
Yeah.
them, but you have to imagine that Garrett's skill set.
Yeah, look on paper.
It's on paper, Garrett's skill set's way higher, but I definitely wouldn't count out Brendan on anything. Definitely not someone you ever place a bet on. ever.
Yeah, so like that's my little theory on Drickus. I think he's kind of, and I think if he had to, like, full disclosure, I think he's kind of banking or hoping on that Soldier Boy rematch, and that might just be the last step he would need to get into the UFC, perhaps. You know what I mean? Like to beat a guy who went from here to the UFC, that might just be the.
See, like, I heard that Drickus was meant to fight Boris. Because remember, he was originally scheduled to fight Boris, and then Boris pulled out when he fought Roberto Soldic, and then he beat Roberto, and then I think he was meant to fight Boris again.
Yeah, that's come and gone already. And it was in that camp that Drickus pulled out because he doesn't want to make welterweight anymore.
Yeah.
He was saying he can't make it. So he's only going to take fights at middleweight. And at the time, Kaz Nauru had nothing for him at middleweight. So, you know, and since then he's been kind of suggesting that, you know, the winner of Soldier Boy Lazar. We did see Drickus back in action. It's so comfortable to see a guy of that talent just sitting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's been a long time since he's fought now. What are we talking, like, over a year now?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, his last fight was Wembley, 10th, I suppose October last year, like too long.
Yeah. What did you, obviously, another massive topic everyone was talking about was San Amor to Durban, eh?
Yes. I love the Durban events, right?
No,
it's a much smaller
I
event.
wouldn't know, hey, because I didn't go to one. This time I bought tickets and accommodation, which is quite cool.
We got in his case and we're like, you have to come to this event. It's so much fun. It's like smaller, more intimate. It's full from the beginning. Great atmosphere. It's at Sabaya. It's really good. So he books his tickets. We're gonna go to ADCC on the Sunday, and we went in like a week removed from booking tickets. And I'm like, see ya.
Yeah, thanks UFC for the fourth holiday, I guess. So Durban, we're coming.
Yeah, ADCC will be there.
Regardless, anyone wants to put on a UFC 1.5, one of the gyms there.
79.5.
Yeah. So
that's super bleak, though. I'm sure the Durban fans must be.
You know what?
Serious.
I had a bit of a gripe, obviously, besides the fact that I bought tickets for nothing. I had a bit of a gripe with the way that whole thing was handled. Just like, so we want EFC to be the biggest event, and the biggest fight is Soldier Boy Lazar, no offense to anybody else. And Mandolino doesn't have an opponent because we took too long to edit the show, and now we're moving everything out. So sorry for you, Durban. You know what I mean? Like, no apologies, no like Thomas said, we're gonna come back. Like, sorry, Durban. Just like it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that was the approach. And honestly, like, it left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. I would like to have seen, like, a bit of a better explanation. And Ben and Lazar and Soldier Boy are the biggest fights we have in the organisation, and because of that, we're scrapping Durban. You know what I mean? And like, nobody can fight in Durban besides Mandolino. I think that's a bit.
But if they could see that was on the horizon, why didn't they just swap the events around? Why didn't they take the card that was meant to be in Durban and just swap it around with the June 29th card? I know that obviously it's way more technical than that because you're booking these arenas and that. But
I did notice there's a cannabis expert there the next weekend.
I saw that as well. Good nothing to do with that. But I think the Durban fans must be super upset. It's like they only get one event a year at this stage, and to have that one event cancelled, so it's going to be 2 years before you can have another event in Durban.
So at the last EFC event, and I spoke to a couple of guys, and I think a few people might have noticed that the arena wasn't as full as it normally, and I think it's actually one of the questions that comes up later. That the attendance wasn't. It wasn't empty.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like what you used to,
Yeah.
So, do you think the EFC is kind of like, well, we've given you multiple platforms to watch this product on, like, we don't have to come to Durban. Is that? Do you think that that's an approach? And if it is, like, I don't agree with that, because obviously there's such a huge difference. Like, watching MMA live and on TV is two different things. Like, it's one of the very special sports. You know what I mean? To watch live, like to watch combat sports live is just like another level.
It's like when you go with someone that's not really an MMA fan and they find out that at the event they've got this bloodlust.
Yeah.
And they never thought they'd like fighting, and they get there and like they get so engrossed and like actually just rooting for these people and seeing blood and seeing knockouts and submissions.
And like hearing kicks and like hearing punches land and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like makes everything so much more real. So I think it's a travesty as a fan to be denied that option of watching MMA live, you know what I'm saying? Look, I don't know what the deal is with the EFC. So now if you look at the rest of the roster, it's kind of just like to be confirmed.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're hearing a lot of rumors that, you know, I think it came up in the press conference that there was a talk of them only being in Joburg, like I think,
all in Carnival City or something.
yeah,
like that.
all in Carnival City, maybe Pretoria as well.
Because Times Square is a nice arena.
Times Square is a sick.
And the way they did the first event of the year was awesome. You know, I thought the way that they blacked out a whole bunch of seats, so it made it a little bit more intimate rather than having people sprawled across the entire arena. I thought the very first event of the year was phenomenal. And the eternal optimist in me wants to just believe that it was a scheduling issue, that they couldn't put together the right fights for this Carnival City card, so it didn't attract the type of momentum that you require for it. And I want to believe that they got something special to announce or maybe to surprise us with, but it doesn't seem likely.
So this is my theory on that, is that like EFC realistically is not in the business of selling tickets to live events. That's not like a massive, look, they do sell, but it's not like a massive thing.
Yeah, it's not one of the primary income sources.
So in that arena, you're basically relying on the talent on the card to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happening. Guys are selling tickets to their fans and supporters and stuff. So if you're with all due respect, like Kulikani Klongwa coming from Durban to try and sell tickets, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're like, I mean, there's no massive stars that are going to sell 300 plus tickets on that card, you know what I mean? And that's also going to have an effect on how full the arena is. And I think having a full arena for broadcasting purposes is just as important, you know what I mean? Because if you're watching a sports event, if you're watching football, like if you watch like Italian football, sometimes the hooligans are banned from the stadium. Like it's the most boring thing to watch because it's just these dudes in the stadium and nobody's watching them. You're like, well, why the fuck am I watching them? Everybody else is, you know, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? Like you have to have that vibe inside an arena. That's massively important. So I don't know, man. We wait to see what's happening, but it's nerve-wracking times, man. To see how schedules are just erased like that and just like, well, this was the plan. You know, like now we don't know what the plan is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cape Town, are we going back to Cape Town? What's happening? Like it's pretty crazy.
You know, I don't think that they won't go back to Cape Town.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite a big audience for them. But obviously there's some talk of them doing smaller events. And I like the idea of maybe some smaller events with more up-and-coming fighters that could break through and become big talents. But you kind of need to couple that with these big events as well. So I'm hoping that that's kind of the type of announcement that you get, that, okay, we're only going to do maybe 6 major events a year and 6 small events a year. This will be the venue for the small events, and we're going to go back to Times Square once a year, Carnival City 3 times a year, Grand West twice a year, maybe Durban once. But yeah, I'm hoping that we're not moving away from stadiums and going to everything being in smaller venues. You know?
Look, I think the general idea is that it's not like it's not the display of like a massively booming organization. That's the way I see it. You know what I mean? Like it looks like we're retracting on shows instead of getting bigger. You know what I'm saying? And that's worrying for me. Look, I know the EFC will always, you know, like you'll get to December and they'll have this card that's probably going to make your jaw drop and you're like, okay, shit.
Well, this last December one was phenomenal.
And they seem to always do that. You know, they always seem to come back with like something that will blow your socks off. You know, like maybe they have to ride out financial times in the year and then kind of like bank on bigger fights down the line. So I think with all fairness to the EFC, we've got to kind of judge it like on a full year rather than card to card. You know what I mean? Let's give them that benefit of the doubt.
Look, I think they also probably pushed a lot of resources into producing the fights in season 2. When they did season 1, there was definitely a strain on the events that happened around that. You could see that the money wasn't as freely available as it was previously. So maybe it's just they're just trying to recover from the fights. And
look, I'm no Spielberg, but I'd imagine to make a TV show cost a few rand.
Oh
but so you know, making a TV series tends to make a bit of a dent in the bank account.
Yeah.
And like, we get it, it happens. And there was just we wanted to cover a couple of people getting fights. We already mentioned BK, who's fighting in Pancrase.
So that's like beginning of July, huh? Or end of June?
Yeah, end of June, I think.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal. What people don't realize about Pancrase, besides obviously what we said earlier, that it's one of the oldest promotions in the world, is that they've got a very, their talent is very heavily weighted towards the lighter weight categories.
Yeah.
So it really is a big breeding ground for the top bantamweights, flyweights. I think they even go lower than flyweights. I think they go to strawweights in males in Pancrase. I'm not 100% sure, you have to check, but I mean, I know that a big portion of their talent is on the lower weight category. So it's quite nice that BK will get an opportunity to be exposed to that market.
Sure. And the Japanese market is they're mad about MMA,
Yeah.
man. They're like massive fans. And Pancrase has been around forever, man.
Yeah.
We saw Shine Christmas announced she's got a fight in the good for her. Like it's super sad to see that sort of talent leave the EFC, like with one fight only, which is quite tough.
Yeah.
But,
And she's actually fighting for a title, in Canada. She's
Yeah.
fighting in BTS.
But I mean, she's that sort of talent on like a small show. Like you comfortably give her a title shot. You know what I'm saying? So, big ups to her, man. Like, and at least she's getting the fight. You know, and she's going to get her due and carry on staying active. You know.
From what I understand, she's still actually contracted to Invicta as well.
Yeah.
So I think once she gets some momentum going again, you'll probably see her on Fight Pass and on the Invicta cards, and yeah.
Sure.
So that's great.
Yeah, shout out to Shine, man. I'm glad she's getting that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then obviously the side effect of that is Karina Volcic. She's now got 2 fights on like in a month. You
What
know
promotion is that?
I'm sorry, but I didn't actually catch. She posted on her Instagram or something. That she's got 2 fights lined up. And yeah, she'll wait to see her come back and defend her belt there, which is obviously not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that your ladies champ isn't coming back immediately.
Yeah.
But I suppose there's no contenders for it at the moment.
Well, look, there's the rematch with Kiara Penko. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's what there is.
Yeah.
There's nothing else really.
Oh, she's fighting in Venator. Venator's quite a decent European promotion. She's fighting Roberta Zocco. So I think it's an Italian promotion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, look, it looks like the flyer was designed in Microsoft Word. So I can really see what's going on. I mean, in fact, good for her.
Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome for her. Yeah. Who else has got international fights at the moment?
That's it, bro.
That's it.
We wait for Champion Dolce then announced
That's an amazing
what's
fight.
his name? Justin.
Ledet.
Yeah.
So that's actually a decent fight.
Rangy dude, yeah. Like the things with the UFC, they don't come easy, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you'll be looking at Justin and Death and be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. At least he's not some killer, but
And they definitely don't come easy at light heavyweights. I mean, at least at heavyweight, you can maybe catch a couple of guys that got in there just because they're heavy-handed or something, and you can out-wrestle, you can wrestle the shit out of them. But at light heavyweights, all the heavyweights that are like just super athletic, It's so yeah, Justin Ledet's definitely an easy start to your UFC career. But once again, Dolce is also a different type of genetic beast. I don't think anyone wants to get touched by that guy.
We also made the mistake of kind of out against Andy Funzel, and I said I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
So like he's going to be interesting.
That's awesome.
How it all pans out, and at least that's coming soon. So South Africans got like a cool international fight to look forward to. Champion Dolce. Shout out to Champion, bro. It's going to be awesome.
It's kind of like I think this is Ledet's. He needs a win here to stay in the UFC, and it's kind of like testing Champion. Like, what type of tier will he fall into in that light heavyweight category?
One thing about Champion Dolce, I think if you're adjusting the debt and you're looking at statistics, you're like, oh, South Africa, like what can you really be doing there? Cool, you went up a weight class, you did this, you did that. Cool story. Like, what can you really bring? But I think when you see him physically, like marching down that walkway, you know what I mean? He's intimidating, man. And I think that he wins a lot of fights like that. You know what I mean? I think he gets him like his raw physicality and like that.
He's just a bit of a smaller version of Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast.
Francis has won most of those fights mentally before he even gets in there. Guys see him and they're like, what?
Yeah. Can't they show you that ovary knockout?
Well, let's have to watch the Dolce's knockout of Alain Bordeaux, and they'll be like, fuck it, not a chance, bro, I'm out of here.
Exactly. Cool. Should we head into some questions? We actually got quite a few stuff. Oh, this is something that popped up now. I don't know if you saw this. EFC posted their numbers for EFC 78.
Is this on Instagram?
No, this was on media.
Oh, okay.
Emails. So I hadn't actually posted it yet. It was all about the different viewership, but basically they're saying that they had 1.85 million unique viewers watching TV coverage. And the majority...
Live or between the delayed broadcast and the live broadcast?
So then it breaks it up. The share of TV coverage by channel. SABC's coverage made up 19%. Supersport made up 81%. So that's, I think, like content being broadcast.
Okay. And
then share of audience reach by channel. SABC, 99% was at reach was through SABC. And 1% was Supersport. It actually gives you the numbers. So, which translates to premium fights broadcast on SABC3 reached 315,890 views. Okay, so total available audience. Yeah, 13,092 watched the broadcast on Supersport. Compared to, so it's massive majority in SABC, which is super interesting.
That is very interesting. You would have thought that those numbers would be switched.
Yeah, I thought for sure that the major coverage would be on Supersport.
Yeah. I'd love to know what type of numbers are if you had to do a similar thing where SABC covered a soccer match and Supersport covered the same match.
They released numbers last year of where EFC sat amongst other sports. We were the second most watched, I think.
Okay.
Behind European football maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Like that. We were out doing all like the local cricket, rugby, all of them like combined. They were out doing numbers. Because it was well into the millions per view. And that's in like an independent thing. It's not the EFC aren't making those numbers.
Your subscription to DSTV, if you are a bar or some sort of public viewing environment, is that significantly different to someone that's got a regular DSTV?
Yeah, it is. So you like, if you're in like a public space like a bar, you get a completely different package. It's a compact package.
Okay.
So you're only really getting like sports.
Okay.
That's all you're really getting. And like, I mean, back in the day, I actually always had like FTV and shit like that. Because even though that was the cool thing to do, let's put runway models on in the background while we drink. That's great.
Wasn't there like an actual FTV bar?
There was.
There was. So now that compact package, is that any more expensive than what
it's actually cheaper.
Okay.
But if you had to see how many channels you get compared, if you had to get that at home, you'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Because it's like maybe like $600 for just the sports channels.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it is cheaper, but you're not getting much.
Yeah. I suppose it's like as a sports fan, if you only got zero interest in movies, TV series, and so forth, $600 to get all your pay-per-views in boxing, all your pay-per-views in MMA, all your racing, football. I think that's pretty worth it.
Sure.
Awesome. That's interesting statistics.
There you have it. Cool. Let's smack into those questions.
Should we start off with Mr. Peter Foster?
Hit it.
So Peter Foster's asked, when can we expect confirmed fights for the guys fighting internationally like Madge, Hanekom, Hume, and Duplessis, as well as prospects for you guys, for guys making the move? So I think we covered a little bit of that.
Yeah. So Don's campaigning for Abu Dhabi. That seems to be the focus from his team.
Is it Abu Dhabi or Dubai? Is it Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is awesome for people that locally want to actually go and watch the match. That's probably the most accessible fight that you can get.
Sure.
Across that
6-7 hour flight.
Yeah. I think the ticket's about $6,000 or $6,500 to get there. I think it's awesome. I'm gonna try and make mine. If he gets in that card, I'll definitely try and make an effort to be there.
Yeah, that would be a cool card to go.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered most. I don't think the Chad Hanekom. We wait to see.
He's prepping for something, but I don't think anything's confirmed.
I think he's just staying ready more than anything. Like it seems that way. But I'm sure we'll see Chad Hanekom competing before the end of the year, hopefully. And he wanted to know.
Hume, but Hume's recovering from surgery.
Yeah, he had a knee op, I think.
Yeah.
So he's busy recovering. He's in like a rehab phase now, so he'll maybe be back soon. But again, I'm not seeing anybody in those calls up from Brave, so we'll wait to see. What else do you want to know? We discussed Drickus, what we think's happening there. any prospects for you guys making a move? To be honest, it has to be Ikebesa. That has to be the okay, and JP Bays. I think JP Bays, in my opinion, his next fight should be in an international organization, if not the UFC. Maybe like a Bellator, maybe like a Dana White Contender Series. One of those. I think that's where I'd like to see JP in one of those now. Obviously, he did the Contender Series, but there were factors involved there.
Maybe if another tough comes around, maybe jump on there.
That's more tough would be legit.
Yeah, because I mean he doesn't cut a crazy amount of bantamweight.
But that being said, for Ikebesa, I mean, I'd like to see Ikebesa do something like that, or even just get straight a shot into the UFC. I mean, the UFC's got to know who he is, but I'm sure.
I'm sure.
They've got to know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if they knew who Peter Queally was, they got to look at the record and Igor mollywopped.
You see, like, how funny it is, like, imagine he fought Peter Queally now.
Yeah. It would be a way different story.
Yeah. Completely different story. Because he kind of fought.
He fought Peter when Peter was winning, like that.
Yeah, but before Notorious was this massive. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just because of that, it would have been completely different. Right?
Yeah.
Also, do you think Barasha should move to middleweight? Well, Warren already answered that for you.
Yeah.
He does think so. Cool, thanks, Peter. Pauline Halstead wanted to know, she's a question for you, seeing as you had one anonymous question last time.
One anonymous, just raw causing shit.
You was doing the same thing again.
No, what did you do?
He asked about the super fight between West and JP and Mark Zonneveld.
Who is this Mark Zonneveld character?
God knows, bro.
Oh my goodness, what a tit.
But he's not a fan of JP Bays, I tell you.
Apparently not.
So she wants to know, do you think Zulu's only option is to change camps? Same questions from Debo, regardless of whether he wins this next fight. They are both personalities with great potential in small terms. See, I think this is a misconception as well. Walter Bennett is obviously like pretty good at what he does. You know, I mean, like I've seen what he's done to Iggy Cabeza. They're obviously cross-training with the guys from UMF, and they've got one hell of a team going there at the moment with all these guys, like your sparring partners. You've got a lot of access. They've definitely got a good wrestling coach at UMF. They've got the,
Is Sloan the coach there?
I'm not too sure what he's
I think the Quirson brothers are
a beast.
coaching there.
Yeah, so they've got good wrestling, they've got a good facility there, so the guys are getting like good looks at training what it's supposed to look like. And there was a lot of experience in there as well. Soldier Boy's involved with them. I saw Soldier Boy was in Tender's corner. I'm pretty sure I saw Soldier Boy in his corner.
Makes sense. I mean, they definitely cross training.
So there's a lot of experience there. You know what I mean? So
he doesn't have a camp at the moment, does he?
Who's Soldier Boy?
Yeah.
He seems to, but I remember at the Performance Institute when they were filming the fight, that someone was asking about where he's doing his striking, and he was kind of like, it's a secret. And, so I don't know.
I'm sure Neil's covering his jiu-jitsu, and I'm sure he's training with Ego with the wrestling. But yeah, I'm not sure what the situation is.
So yeah, I think Zulu and Madiba are where they need to be at the moment. I don't think.
Yeah, I think Zulu's career took a little bit of a pause or a step back just with the last. I mean, you would with the previous question, the guys that should be making the move, he would have definitely been in that discussion one fight ago.
Yeah.
But now he needs to kind of redeem himself from this loss. Yeah, I don't know. How did he compete? You know, he spent all that time with Henry Cejudo out in Arizona or wherever it was. How did he compete after that? I mean, he seemed to have a bit of ground game by the time he got back.
I think the next fight was Gary Joshua, wasn't it? Did he have
no, I think he had a fight before that.
Maybe Sylvester?
Yeah, probably Sylvester. I think he also fought...
Look, bro, 6 months is not going to make you a wrestling guru. You know?
No, it's going to help. It's going to help, though.
Sure,
yeah.
It's definitely going to help.
Good job.
But I think like if you've got what everyone sees as a flaw, like Zulu in his ground game, they're actually just going to hammer for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're gonna like bring out every piece of knowledge you know about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's always going to be that disadvantage, whether you like it or not.
So I don't think his entire ground game is his weakness.
He's somebody Gary Joshua.
I think it's particularly coming up against wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's fought jiu-jitsu guys, he hasn't really had much of a problem. It's obviously like when he fought the Japanese guy in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
The wrestling became a problem, right? And then I still haven't seen the Jake Hadley fight, but it seemed like the grappling was a situation.
Anyway, as well, yeah, that's That's that.
Yeah.
Damon Archie wants to know any idea when we'll see Drickus. Everyone wants to know about Drickus, and I think we kind of laid out that plan. I think he's holding out for hopefully what he deems as the Soldier Boy rematch. So that's what I think. That's what he's happening. And then he wants to know which you guys prefer, Miocic, Cormier, or Cormier versus Lesnar.
I'm not a Lesnar fan.
Yeah, no, look,
Miocic, Cormier is definitely the
I think Lesnar is a freak athlete. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude goes from like whatever he's doing to come into the UFC and dominates, and he's obviously a beast. But man,
definitely never took a steroid in his life.
Yeah, no. He's on that biogen, bro. You know, like I think Stipe Miocic is like the nicest guy in MMA ever, and fucking deserving of a title fight. So I'm happy.
He's the most dominant heavyweights in history.
Exactly, bro.
And you can't get another fight.
Look, what I wanted to say, and also like I think if Brock Lesnar and DC would fight, I think boxing some steroids, DC would fail the USADA test.
Yes, yeah. just contamination.
I'm retiring again for steroids. Okay.
But this week they did announce that Lesnar was fully retired from MMA. There's no more option for him to come back to MMA.
Thank goodness.
So that fight's never going to happen. So, yeah. And you know, like the problem is that if they want him to fight, he has to get back into the testing protocol. And I'm sure that conflicts with his wrestling, his WWE career.
Sorry, bro, you think WWE gives you steroids?
All the steroids.
You be lying boss. Kirk Brim wants to know, a few years back I went to the first UFC event in Carnival City. It was packed to the rafters, the upper level was full. I noticed this last event seemed only half full on TV. I'm told the upper level was covered, so I don't know I can't say that. Why is this? Why aren't the fans attending the event? Should we be worried? I think we also kind of touched on this.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's a combination of things. I think you've got so many platforms to watch the EFC on live on Supersport. You know, do you guys want to travel to Carnival City? Did you have a strong enough card to sell it out? The guys that were selling tickets, did they have enough of a fan base to sell enough tickets? Those are the kind of questions I'd be asking.
Yeah, I think it was more just that there wasn't a big enough draw on this card to get people out there. I mean, if you had to compare it to the first event of the year with Martin and Joe, I thought that was a pretty awesome event. I mean, Times Square Arena is way bigger than Carnival City, and it was a great atmosphere. So I don't think it's something to be worried about. I just think that if you want to have a full stadium, you need a couple of big names to be on the card to bring them there. You know, and so I just, you know, it's also difficult from the matchmaking side. As a matchmaker, I'm sure you get a lot of rejection. Do you want to fight on this card? Like I said, I'm not ready, I'm injured. And, you know, sometimes these cards can just be a clusterfuck of everyone not being ready at the same time, or the cards were left a little bit too late, potentially, and guys didn't have enough time to commit themselves to it, you know? So I think it was just purely down to what was on the card, and I don't think it's a bigger issue of people aren't going to these events anymore. I think you put the right fights on the guys that come out.
100%. Reece Kronwalk wants to know, so there has naturally been a lot of hype about the UFC Supersport deal and Don making his debut and Dolce coming up. So a lot of people have been saying that some fighters should get called up to the UFC. Do you think we are actually getting that increased interest from the UFC and the international MMA community, or do you think it's just more hype than anything else?
So my opinion on this, right, is that I don't think Supersport signing on to be a broadcaster of the UFC brings any more attention to the fighters from the UFC. Yeah. What I think does bring attention to the fighters is the fact that the UFC are actively looking at hosting the events on the African continent. So when you host an event on the African continent, you obviously want a decent portion of local fighters on those cards from a ticket sales point of view. So I think that will bring more attention to our local guys. I think the moment the UFC decided, okay, December 2019, we're coming to South Africa, I'm sure you'll see 5-6 oaks on the UFC roster get chomped up quickly just for that. Even if it's on one fight contract or whatever the situation is, they'll get taken over because they need to keep some of the local talents on their card. But I don't think the actual Supersport deal brings any more attention for the local fighters to the UFC brass, because the UFC aren't forced to watch local talent through that broadcasting.
Yeah, let's hope they've been watching brass. What? Yeah, look, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think we're going to have this massive chain of guys just getting signed up to the UFC. But look, it's a step in the right direction. I think it's an acknowledgement to say that okay, UFC does know that Africa exists. You know what I mean, and we are here and we do have talent, and I think that's the most important, because it was nothing before. You know what I mean? So So it's a big step, and it's a big acknowledgement of Africa's biggest sports broadcaster to put MMA onto their channels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That also says a lot about where the sport is.
Because if we just go back a couple of years, we were kind of booted off
In New
multi-choice.
Yeah, we were watching New Metro.
Yeah. But I mean, we were booted off multi-choice. They didn't want anything to do with us after the Aussie incident.
Yeah.
Which was sad because there wasn't anything from the sports fault per se, you know. But yeah, it's I don't think that deal does anything for the fighters. I think it does everything for the fans though.
Yeah.
I think that was all about the fans. Yeah.
Cool. Call us the clown on Twitter.
What type of handle is it?
Yeah. Call us the clown on Twitter. Thoughts on EFC running out of talent? Does this mean MMA in South Africa is dying? Again, like it's drastic to say MMA is dying. Obviously, like without shouting too much negativity, we've seen it. We've lost a lot of UK talent to Bellator and stuff like that. You know, guys just don't want to wait for fights and they really want to move on. You know, I don't think the EFC is running out of talent. I think there are definitely divisions that are lacking in talent. But John, man, I don't think it's drastic. I don't think we can say, damn, you know, we're going to run out of fights.
Yeah.
MMA is just going to come to a grinding halt. It's never going to happen.
Comes in words.
Yeah, it's just never going to happen. The MMA scene is a little bit nerve-wracking at the moment. The amateur MMA scene is a bit nerve-wracking at the moment because everyone's like, it seems like 5 Star is gone. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from them for a while.
Obviously, EWC has stepped in and they got a very neat little promotion, which is cool. But like, yeah, the talent's not flying in, but it's definitely there. There's definitely talent coming up. If you're following like amateur MMA, there's some good guys and good ladies around. So they're definitely coming up. It's just not coming in. I mean, the things I think also now, like we watch the UFC, like there's just fighters coming out of every corner of the world, and like you have to remember we're still a budding MMA nation, and it's going to be a little bit slower than the rest of the world for sure.
Yeah. Also, people always forget that when EFC 1 came along, there weren't really much in, by the way, professional MMA events. So when they came along, all the talent that had been harnessed over like the last 10 years all went pro and started fighting more regularly professionally. So you had this big push of talent that came into professional MMA. Then you had the next generation that weren't quite ready when EFC 1 came along. Then that next generation pushed in. But now it seems like as we get further along, pretty much a large majority of people that were going to go pro have gone pro already and have done their thing, you know. So I'm not 100% sure, but what is a little bit of a positive to see is this. If you watch Justin Ferrier's Instagram account and how he's pushing KZN MMA and how he's actually developed quite a strong amateur team, which are guys that are maybe like a year or so away from going pro, you know, and there'll be a lot of talent pushed in from the KZN region in a year or so. It'd be nice to see more of that from the other provinces. Gauteng looks very weak at the moment. I had a little bit of feedback from some of the people that were involved there, and Gauteng need to get their shit together quick sticks because
Fair for president.
we endorse Ferrier for president.
Yeah, shout out to Justin Ferrier, what a beast.
Yeah, so I mean that's a positive, but yeah, it is a bit nerve-wracking. You know, like there were lots of amateur MMA promotions. It seems like there's only EWC going at this moment in time.
In Gauteng.
Yeah. But I mean, there's MFC in Durban, Cape Town. I don't know what they've got in Cape Town. I think they've got. Does CFL still operate?
I think they do.
So I mean, they've got like there's a couple of amateur promotions around, but nothing where it used to be, you know. But the nice thing is you've got more tournament-based promotions. I think is actually the right way of going, you know. We've got all these IMF African Championships. The venue for where they're hosting these things are a bit peculiar, but I mean at least you're at least you're having like nationals and guys are getting 3 fights in a weekend, and you know you're developing the talent. So that's a very big positive, I think. So I actually think there's a drop in this pro-am style of events like 5 Stars and EWC and so forth, even though those things are still around, and more of a push into these tournament-based amateur events, which I think is a way better approach to preparing yourself for a professional career. You know, these guys are getting 3 fights a weekend, 2-3 fights a weekend. They can do this 3 or 4 times a year. So you're getting like 10 fights a year. You can do that for 2 or 3 years, and then you'll be so experienced by the time you go pro. So I think that's a good push. It's a push in the right direction.
100%. So there is talent in the way.
Yeah. It just might take a little bit of time to get into the UFC.
Carlos the Clown Gang wants to know your thoughts on people not watching TF2 because it's female. I don't know if that's an assumption or.
I don't think that's true.
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's a cracking show, and I think it's only going to get better. So
the first 2 episodes were fantastic.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know. I think that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true at all.
And we obviously both saw some of what's coming in the future episodes, and it gets good.
Yeah.
It gets even better.
Like I said, man, I think there were 10 ladies, massively talented ladies from all over the world. Really good production. The UFC threw a lot of money behind this production. It was shot in a cool setting in the PR. The talent is great, the fights are great. I think there's obviously a lot of drama that happens, even stuff that we don't know about. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that's an assumption. I'm guessing that's an assumption.
I think it's doing well.
Cool. Carlos the Clown had a few other questions, but I'm not going to answer all of them. We'll get to this one. Thoughts on Dylan Dennis taking over the UFC?
The guy's had like 1 MMA fight. He looked terrible in the stand-up, caught a quick toe hold. I mean, I'm not saying that he won't be a superstar at some stage. He obviously talks the talk, but I think it's going to take a bit of time before he can walk the walk, you know? Yeah. He obviously is calling for this fight with AJ Agazarm, which seems peculiar. I mean, if you're going to make a name, you want to call out bigger names. You don't want to call out someone that's just lost his debut in MMA.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's don't get me wrong, I think he's a phenomenal grappler. He's next level. I mean, he destroyed Joe Lozon in Metamoros. He's won some serious fights. He's beat AJ Agazarm in professional grappling. Went to the decision against Gary Tonin. Like, he's a phenomenal grappler, but MMA is a different sport altogether.
Yeah. Cool story about doing that. Yeah. Let's let him get some MMA fights before we say anything. I think that's all the questions. So thank you guys. That was pretty cool. I think that's it, bro. Is there anything else?
What's on the horizon for MMA? What's the next EFC event?
Well, obviously we're waiting now for Lazar vs Soldier Boy. That's EFC 80, no longer in Durban.
It's quite a long wait, eh?
Yeah, 29th of June. It's big, yeah.
It's going to be like almost 2 months between.
So
events.
what we know about that card: Brendan Lazar versus Gareth McClellan, Conrad Siabi versus Luke Michaels for the Grand Prix. And then there's a couple of prelim fights.
Triple H versus Ivan Stradom.
Yeah, cool story, bro.
Chitamba versus Martin de Beer. Martin de Beer is always fun to watch.
So I think we're gonna see the building of a good card there. Funny enough, on that card they've got Siabi. They don't have Siabi and Michaels as a co-main, but I'm sure they've built it as a co-main. I think unless
the fight.
TF2, the
TF2 finale is the co-main.
Yes.
And that's going to be a cracker, I can promise you.
Yeah.
The 2 ladies that are in the final is.
Okay, cool. So you've got the coaches, and in the final, the 2 ladies fighting. Siabi versus Luke Michael. Already we're looking at like a tenfold better card.
Yeah, well, about to say that card's already better than 79. So I mean, I wouldn't actually be opposed to the UFC doing less events and making them more high profile.
Sure. Maybe like 8 instead of 10.
Yeah, and then just get more talent on. Because if the problem is that you're not getting enough talent onto each card and guys aren't available so regularly, just host less events. You know, I know you've got a big roster and you have to accommodate everyone, but I mean, let's rather make this thing special than maybe dilute it too much by having too many events in the year.
I would love to see. We spoke about a little bit earlier, like a contender series kind of setup, but with like talent coming all the way from Africa to compete to get a UFC contract. I'd love to see something like that. I think that would be great. And it would be a nice way to bring talent in. Obviously, it's resources, it's money, it's a lot of things, you know. But I think for like a contender series kind of setup, I think that would be
definitely
badass.
I think that's great.
And they can have those with the PR, man. There's nothing wrong. I think it would be cool. We saw how the fight unfolded at the PR. I think they've definitely got the means to do something like that. That would be cool to see. And if you're looking for talent, that's the best way to bring it to you. You know.
What would be great is if they could somehow negotiate a UFC contract and then have a contender series where it's an all-African series, where it's guys from Ghana, Senegal, and the surrounding countries, and then the winner of that gets maybe like a 1-5 contract in the UFC or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. It's everyone loves the African.
But fear no more, lads. MMA is alive and kicking. We didn't have the best card last one, but we're already building to a great card.
Yeah.
TF2 is awesome. It's a cool show. It's going to be such a nice build up into the finale. So yeah, don't fear, don't despair. MMA is alive. UFC is not burning to the ground.
Definitely not.
They're still around.
I just think they're making some strategic moves to maybe mix it up a little bit.
So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And that's that, bro.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you for tuning in. Again, when we send out questions, you guys want to send in your questions, topics, even something else that you want us to discuss. Agree, disagree. We're always open to chat. So let us know and then give us a shout. And that's it. And we're out.
Cheers, guys.